We are beginning a new series right here that's examining how climate change threatens the way our world looks and how it feels.
And we've also discovered some people are now weighing the possible environmental impact of how many children to have or whether or not to have children at all. ABC chief meteorologist and managing editor of the climate unit, my girl, Ginger Zee, is here to examine this highly personal decision.
Yes, highly personal, and it's personal specifically to me because one of my siblings, my sister, I've got three, so she's not being called out exactly, but when I was pregnant with my second child, I went to tell my family, but she said in disappointment, I didn't think you were going to do that again for the planet. She thought I would adopt.
And you were stunned.
I was stunned by her reaction because she has chosen not to have children and plans to foster or adopt, but some of her reasoning had to do with climate change. Turns out that conversation's happening in many more places than just my own home. We actually had our own ABC Ipsos poll that shows millions of people are doing just that.
In a cozy apartment in Kansas City, high school sweethearts Justine and Armando are just beginning their lives together. They work multiple jobs and have big plans for their future, but there is one nagging issue on their minds.
Climate is one of the ones that it's not every conversation, but it does pop up, and when it does, it takes like a lot of serious consideration, and it seems like it pushes all the plans aside.
Concerns about the climate have even become a factor in deciding where their forever home will be.
Where are we going to live due to weather and natural disasters and things like that?
It's also a factor in how many kids they want to have.
I feel like it has changed a lot about what we think of having children and the quantity of the children that we'd have, whether it's, you know, adoption or if it's just through us.
Making climate change a part of their parenting decision might seem controversial, but they're definitely not alone. Some very prominent people have also expressed doubts about the number of children they want to have, or even whether or not they want to have kids at all, due to the growing climate crisis. And according to a recent ABC News Ipsos poll of U.S. adults ages 18 to 45, 23% said that climate change has made them reconsider having a biological child, and 25% said that climate change has made them consider having fewer children.
We're so often told to reduce our personal greenhouse gas emissions, we should fly less, change our diet, maybe give up our car. But nobody talks about the most impactful one, having one less child.
One of the few researchers to examine this very sensitive issue is Kimberly Nicholas at Lund University in Sweden.
When people come to you that are thinking about having a child, what do you say to them when they are concerned about the future with climate change?
Well, it's a really valid concern. But that said, I think people find purpose and meaning in a lot of different ways. And for many people, parenting is one of the core ways that they do that in their life.
So you are not here to say you should or shouldn't have children.
I mean, it's a fundamental human right for people to decide freely for themselves if and when and whether they want to try to have a child. So that should not be interfered with. Yes, having a child creates more emissions. It also can create really powerful incentives for engaging in climate actions.
If you do make the decision to have kids, Kimberly says that there are things you can do to help reduce your carbon footprint. She calls them our 5 superpowers. 1. Do your research. Know more about what you buy and use. 2. Be a role model in sustainability to everybody in your community. 3. Take your climate-friendly practices to work. 4. Invest your money in climate solutions. And 5. Vote on climate policy and for those who align with your environmental ideals. While many of us are working to lessen our carbon footprint, it's still a problem for Armando and Justine because having to consider climate change while also trying to plan a family just doesn't seem quite right.
It's hard not to be upset that we are in this position without a choice, but I think it's also kind of like a challenge and almost like an honor to be like, we are going to be the people who decides whether humanity either figures out this huge problem of working in tune with nature or getting destroyed by it.
And to give you some perspective, having one less child is the carbon equivalent of about 24 people giving up their vehicles each year.
What?
So, yeah,
Wow.
it is impactful. But it's not equal around the world. This is important. Having one less child in a place like India, for example, is a whole lot different and less carbon intensive than having one less child here in the United States, because emissions-wise, the United States still surpasses other countries by far. So us having one less child has a much bigger impact than someone else in another country. We're really 2 times what they are in many other nations.
Jen, you've done so much incredible reporting on this, and you've shown us what's possible if we don't collectively reduce emissions. Some parents, they might be asking, what hope is there?
Well, there's a lot of hope. There's actually some research-based hope, which I always love. I love some good data. The International Energy Agency just put out this encouraging modeling, and they say that babies born this decade will emit 10 times less carbon than their grandparents if the world follows these rules and becomes carbon neutral by 2050.
Wow.
This is such an interesting topic. Thank you for bringing this to us. I'm sure there are a lot of different opinions out there. You probably will hear them.
There are, but the impact to children, pregnant women, it's all coming within this series. So climate change certainly has a lot to do with family planning.
We'll be watching.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.